When you're using a band, you get most of the help in the hardest part of the range of motion. The band is making it easiest in the part of the lift that you need the most help on. So it doesn't make any sense to train banded pull-ups at all unless you already have your first pull-up. If you're fighting for that first one, you need to grease the groove of the hardest part of the range of motion. And for most people, that is going to be right here. If you never get a chance to grease the groove, you are going to be stuck not having your first pull-up forever. So in this video, I am gonna show you exactly what to do instead, and I'm gonna bust myths like women can't do pull-up, you should just train heavy lat pull downs. These are usually things that are said by men who've been able to do a pull-up since they were age 11 and just haven't added much body mass since. So let's get into the video. When we think pull-ups, we usually think of our lats and our biceps. Those are the biggest muscles involved with getting you your first pull-up. But those muscles are not very actively engaged in the first 2 to 3 inches of the range of motion. The muscles that are engaged are our scapular depressors and the smaller muscles that make up our rotator cuff. So why don't you just join me on this exercise, and I want you to take your shoulders and shrug them up. Bring your shoulders up to your ears and shrug like you have no neck at all, okay? Hold it for 5 seconds so that you feel what that feels like and get really active and short. And then I want you to slowly lower back down. I want you to look at my shoulder blade, okay? So right here, keep your eyes right here. See this little area? I want you to also think about what your shoulder blade is doing in this movement. What are you doing up here? And then what happens when you take your delts and bring them away from your ears and lower down? What happens to this part of your body, okay? Go down. Think about what happens there. Now, lift your arms overhead and then shrug again. Take those delts, delt touching my ear. So you'll be in this position, shrug up, and then bring them down. Shrug up and bring them down. So what you just did there in that little exercise is called scapular depression. So you can imagine when you go from delts to the ears down, you're starting to make a move. You're starting to move from the bar, from dead hang to getting more active. You're getting closer to getting your chin over the bar with that. And what also is happening is you're kind of setting your shoulder blade so that you're ready to pull, and those bigger prime movers, those bigger muscles are getting set into the position that they can turn on. Up here, it's gonna be harder to get your lats in. And that movement is called the scap pull-up. Exercise 1 is done. Next, I wanna show you the movement that should be the movement that you replace all banded pull-up work with, and it's called the negative pull-up. You're gonna find a way to jump up so that your chin is over the bar, and then you're going to slowly lower yourself down. Your body is naturally going to want to lower, and it's gonna feel so nice and easy. And once your elbow hits about this angle, you're gonna wanna just let go. No, as you get lower and lower, force yourself to slow it down and draw it out even more. You're gonna be really strong right here. From chin over the bar to the first 75%, it's going to feel pretty easy, but you need to keep yourself very honest and make sure that you're greasing the groove from here to here. That's the little bit of range of motion that we really need to work on. And our goal with a negative pull-up is to increase time under tension. And you can see how the negative is like the opposite of a banded pull-up. With the banded pull-up, the easiest part of the range of motion is gonna be the hardest part of the range of motion in the negative pull-up. Once you've got that negative pull-up down, you want to progressively overload with time under tension. If today you can only do a negative pull-up for 5 seconds, tomorrow try 6, the next day try 7, or you need a slower progression. Next week you try 6-second negatives.
Do you know how many pull-ups statistically a woman, yeah,
Unassisted?
Unassisted pull-ups, how many do you think they can do?
On average, probably 1.5.
How many do you think? 4? 0.
Really?
0. The answer is 0.
As a reminder for all of us women, it's not why we train, but it can be super satisfying to just train and then be able to say like, fuck you, dumb, idiot, stupid, ha ha ha. And it's not just idiot podcast bros who continue on the narrative that women just generally can't do pull-ups. Even the New York Times recently ran a piece that had literally the title, Why Women Can't Do Pull-Ups. And there are very legitimate reasons why women are less likely to be able to do pull-ups than men. For example, our center of gravity is lower. Our shoulder girdles are more narrow and have less muscle. We have less testosterone. And some of my best content is on teaching people how to get their first pull-up. And I think that's all to do with the fact that millennial women especially love proving people wrong. And that is exactly why I built Stronger by the Day and why we have over 25,000 current active members. It's my app for gym girls who are serious about strength goals. And a lot of us are there because we've spent our lives with dumb idiots telling us that we can't do things and making fun of women as a whole for not being as strong as men, while also being advertised incessantly that we should be as small as possible. And that was something that I was always sick of, and that's why I fell in love with lifting. So in the app, you're gonna find a community of badass women, badass serious lifters just like yourself, who have decided that fitness is not where we want to just get smaller, but instead fitness is where we collectively want to get stronger, because we've been told that we either shouldn't be or we can't be our entire lives. In the app, you'll find fresh workouts every single week, a tracker so that you can punch in your numbers today, and we'll make sure that the program adjusts to your progress and your starting strength levels. This is all based on the coaching logic that I have refined for over a decade, and it is the app that I use every single day while I'm training. What you won't find is shaming you for being too big or not strong enough. We don't have any diet culture nonsense in there, and we definitely don't promote the idea that women are weak. There's a myth that constantly goes around anytime I post a how to get your first pull-up video. Okay, so if I'm 140 pounds and I can do a 140-pound lat pull down, I can pull up my body weight with a lat pull down, or I can pull it down. I should be able to do a strict pull-up. I'm strong enough to do it, right? Not exactly, and let me explain why. First, the lat pull down is gonna completely remove the dead hang, which we've already covered in this video is where most people get stuck. Second, on the lat pull down machine, you get a lot of mechanical leverage that you don't get on your dead hang. The lat pull down machine, most importantly, allows you to wedge your thighs under pads. You can change your torso angle, change the line of pull. You can use more momentum. And third, the skill of doing a pull-up requires a lot of anti-rotation and anti-swing core control. You have to remember that the pull-up is, yes, a strength movement, but it is a skill. You have to work on the skill of getting your first pull-up. The lat pull-down is not totally useless, but it doesn't guarantee that you're gonna be able to do a strict pull-up. So that brings me to the end of the video. Make sure you take your bands and throw them in the trash. I'm just kidding. There's a time and a place for them, but I find that in the conversation of pull-ups, it's just like there's so many other things that you could be doing. But I hope that this video helped you a little bit understand what is worth your time and what might not be worth your time when it comes to getting your first strict pull-up. I have plenty of videos that go more in depth in the programming side of what you can do to get your first. Make sure to check those out in this video. And if you do decide to join Stronger by the Day, I'm actually gonna put a QR code here. If you're watching this not on your phone, scan this QR code. Let's see if that works. Or you can check out the first link in the description if you want to join Stronger by the Day. I'll see you guys in my very next video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. Have a great day. Bye.